Good morning, this is Jennifer Alcorn, and I'm at South Coast Humane Society, and I got this cool little video camera, and I've been trying to do a little bit more on shelter life and how things go here at South Coast Humane, and what we're doing, all the big things that we are accomplishing, and some of our future goals as well. And unfortunately, these videos have to be done while I'm working, which I'm always working. Everybody here is just busting their rear all day, every day to make sure that these animals have a great environment and the best chance to get into future and forever homes here at South Coast Humane Society. So I'm deep in my kennel cleaning this morning. This is a deep clean every day. We don't cut corners here at South Coast Humane. Just because we have clean animals or someone that's housebroken doesn't mean that we don't get in there and clean their kennel on a daily basis, because cleanliness is super important in the shelter environment. Today I want to talk about our intake process, and everybody's curious about intake. Intake, if it's a owner surrender, we do a questionnaire to find out behaviors, mannerisms, what the dog is good at, bad at, how we can better help that dog get into a home. Most times, we only have a few owner surrenders, I'll be quite honest with you. So most times, our animals come in and we have not a lot of behavioral information to go by. So that really comes down to me and the staff and volunteers. Does this video make my neck look... Oh God, I'm getting old in that. Anyway, all right, I'm going to try not to focus on that. Kind of have that ADD stuff kind of go in tangents. So let's get back on the subject. So I rely a lot on staff, volunteers, and then also my personal interactions and observations with the dogs to make sure that we know what we are placing in our public. Super important. We don't want to put behavioral issues out in the public. There's major major things, and there are minor things. Sometimes when we get a rescue from a different shelter, it's a what they deem as a minor, and we bring it up here, and it either develops into major, or which is very, very, very rare. But usually we see a dissipation of negative behaviors, and that's because my goal here is get those dogs into a play group. So many times in the high kill shelters, these animals are, number one, they don't get out of their shelter to use the restroom. They don't get out of that kennel. They get lumped in with several other dogs, and there's really no way to know what the true behavior of that animal is. When they get to South Coast Humane, first and foremost, they get a bath. We wash away their past, and we start creating their future. They get looked at from head to toe. Many times these dogs come in covered with flea bites and ticks and other good nasty things that other shelters, maybe they're not able to pay for the treatment, or the treatment just is not done. So we take care of that right off the get-go. We get the dogs out into the yard. We like to watch their movements out in the yard, and then based upon what I see, I will get that dog into a group immediately. And say a fearful dog, or a dog that maybe is just shy, you start getting them back into that social environment, and you start seeing the behaviors dissipate. Absolutely. Or you see that, hey, that dog doesn't like other dogs, and it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare. Dogs are social creatures, and I always go back to what I know, and I talk about people in the prison system. You want to make a man or a woman sad, you take away their freedom. You want to make them crazy, you put them in isolation. And that's one of the things that we do not do here, is isolate our animals here at South Coast Humane. Some animals, it takes me a little more time, and I'm more careful on how I integrate them into play groups. But they do get integrated into those play groups. It's super important to have at least a play buddy. And then I have a reasonable expectation that when someone comes in and says, do they get along with animals? Yes, I can say they get along with females or males or, puppies or, when you're pulling male adult dogs, sometimes their behaviors are, they're in there and they're going to get along with females only, or maybe a younger pup because they've kind of come into their own. I'm definitely not... I'm pretty decent at what I do, but I would definitely, I'm not the best at what I do. I'm working to become better at what I do every single day. I have lots of mentors that I go to if I have a problem. And that's what's great about the rescue community, is that we're all trying to help each other. We're all trying to figure it out. No one has all the answers by any means. Going back to intake, like I said, I get off on tangents, but hopefully this is interesting information for you. Interesting information, I hope. So back to intake. During the intake, they get their vaccinations updated. Everything short of our rabies vaccination, which is administered by our veterinarian when he comes down. If we have a medical issue, I find a lump, a bump, something that is concerning, and I'll go back to, say, Indigo. Indigo is our little beautiful shepherd. Indigo had obviously trauma to the leg, and we took her to the vet immediately. Got her x-rayed, had a reasonable expectation and plan on attack for taking care of her injury. We were very, very, very honest, and that's something that you're always going to get here at South Coast Humane. You're going to get honesty. You're going to get honesty when we are placing our animals. I'm not going to tell people, oh, her leg's going to be great. No, her leg's not going to be great. But this is what you can expect. You can expect that we are treating with anti-inflammatories, that she does use it, that our doctor says that if you keep her at a good weight and don't over-exercise her, she's going to live a good life. She's a beautiful dog. She's a young dog. Maybe someday in the future, if this leg continues to cause her issues, you may want to consider amputation. That's something that South Coast Humane is going to take the financial responsibility for, because that's a pre-existing injury. Anything pre-existing that we note, we're going to help out. That's what you're going to get at South Coast Humane Society. We love working with the public. We love working with our animals. We like finding homes for animals that may have not been able to be placed in a shelter elsewhere due to financial or behavioral issues. Continuing on that intake process, everything is noted on the animal. It's entered into the computer. I put my animals in a position to succeed at my shelter. And what I mean is that I have two sides of my shelter, and one is more or less an intake or quiet side, and then I have my more active side. I'm not going to take a dog that I have pulled out of another shelter because they're shutting down mentally. I'm not going to put them on a hectic and active side. I'm just not going to do that to them because that is not going to help with their behavioral issues of, fear and anxiety. We try to reduce fear, anxiety, and stress in the shelter environment. And there's actually a course that I'm certified in. It's reducing fear, anxiety, and stress in the shelter environment. It's called Fear-Free Shelter. That is something that I'm certified in. I'm always looking to educate myself on how to be better at the job that I do. My staff is also in the process of going through that. More intake. Our intake, once that intake is done, in my mind, I'm constantly going through options. How do I move this dog through the shelter environment and get them out as quickly as possible? I talk to people. When you come in and you're looking for a dog and I hear you, I'm going to be, okay, what's your environment? What are you looking for in a dog? Do you have a fenced yard? Do you have other dogs? Do you have kids? Do you have cats? What do you want your dog to do? What's important to you when you're looking for a dog? I want to have a good conversation with you. An application only tells me where you live and what you write down. Your words tell me what you need. And I want to find what you need and put that dog in a good situation to succeed. So that's what you're gonna get when you see me here at South Coast Humane. You're gonna have a good conversation. You're gonna see me thinking, and my goal is to not turn our Humane Society into a zoo tour, and I say that with a little bit of grain of salt. It does not help most of our animals to have tours of our shelter just to bring the kids down to look at dogs. And I'm protective of my animals. Marching large groups of people through the shelter all the time doesn't help the mentality of the dogs. They get frustrated. They get aggressive on the other side because of the frustration. Those are things that we're trying to limit here. That is why I urge you, if you want to help out at the shelter, you want to bring the kids down and you want to see a dog, come in and talk to me, get online, fill out a volunteer application, tell us what you want to do. Take a dog for a day trip, take a dog for a walk. I'll give you the right dog for the right situation. If you got young kids, I know which dogs go with young kids, and if I don't have dogs that go with young kids, I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to put you in a position, just like I put my dogs in a position, to be successful. And if you want to give a day trip to a dog, you want to take a dog for an overnight trip, I have absolutely no problem doing that, because it is good for the animal and it's good for you. Kind of went all over the place with that one. I tend to do, but I want to give you good information. I want you to know more about what I'm thinking here and how we are running South Coast Humane Society. That's really important to me, that our public far and wide knows that we have the best interest of our animals at all times. And going a little bit further on that, sorry, I'm just going all over because I'm moving beds. A little bit further on that, I've had people get a little upset with me because they want to just walk through and see the dogs. And like I said, I want what's best for the animals, and I want to be able to match people with what works for them. And if I honestly don't have an animal that is going to be suitable, I'll tell you, I don't have an animal that's suitable right now, but leave your information. Tell me what you want, tell me what you need, and I will find it for you. Because there are so many out there that need homes, that need rescue. I think I might have talked a little bit about this. When people say they rescue dogs from South Coast Humane, I kind of chuckle a little bit, because we don't want to put this in the right terms. You don't rescue them from us. We rescue them